You ready to hear about some historical stuff that you've never heard of before?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, not to assume what you may or may not know, but I've never heard of these before.
I've never heard of them either. It was a fun day of learning for me, as the internet is known to provide.
Truly, some of the worst things on planet Earth.
Yeah.
But some kind of weird,
cool stuff.
Yeah.
A few of the best.
All right, well, I guess without further ado, here are some unsolved historical mysteries.
Let's solve them. We're starting off the list with the English sweating sickness. Gross. I've got sweating sickness. I'm so damp. This was a mysterious illness that spread across England a few different times during the Tudor period. Symptoms would be high fever with intense amounts of sweating. But what was really scary about this illness is that it would come on very suddenly, and within a couple hours you'd be dead, having just sweat to death. Outbreaks would happen sporadically between 1485 and 1551, and then that was just it. It's not because they found a cure. I mean, come on, have you ever read about medicine from back then? It just stopped being a thing for whatever reason. And what's also really strange about this sickness was that aside from one outbreak, the sickness only seemed to affect people who were native to England. Wealthy males seemed to be hit the hardest, and it mostly struck in rural populations rather than urban ones, like with most illnesses. The cause of the English sweating sickness is still unknown, and I kinda hope it stays that way, because the only real way we'd learn more about this would be if it came back.
The lead masks case. This case revolves around the mysterious deaths of two Brazilian electronic technicians, Manuel Pereira de Cruz and Miguel Jose Viana, whose bodies were discovered on August 20th, 1966 on a remote hilltop near Rio de Janeiro. The scene was absolutely perplexing. The bodies were found side by side, dressed in formal suits, wearing lead eye masks, and covered in grass, with no apparent signs of struggle or trauma. Nearby authorities found an empty water bottle, wet towels, and a cryptic notebook containing instructions. The men, identified as Cruz and Vienna, had left their hometown days earlier, supposedly to purchase work materials. Witnesses reported seeing them behaving anxiously before they vanished. Despite extensive investigation, the cause of their deaths remains unknown. The case has sparked various theories, of course, including foul play, overdose linked to their involvement in, quote, scientific spiritualism, or even encounters with extraterrestrial beings. However, conclusive evidence has yet to be found, leaving the lead masks case an unsettling, unsolved mystery.
Where on earth is William Kidd's treasure? Historians have been asking that question for centuries. Any One Piece fans in the audience, you're gonna like this story. So William Kidd was born in 1654. He was a Scottish sailor turned privateer. At first he'd been employed by the British government to hunt pirates, but he soon turned pirate himself. In 1699, he was accused of piracy and was facing death by hanging. In an attempt to plead for his life, he sent a letter to the British government saying that he'd reveal the location of mass amounts of treasure that he'd plundered from various ships over the years, but they refused his offer and he was arrested and hanged. But word got out amongst other pirates that Kidd's treasure was buried somewhere, and hunts were launched. This was basically the real-life One Piece, and it still is, because till this day, the treasure's never been found. There have been some clues, though. In 2007, just off Catalina Island, the wreck of the Kadar Merchant was found. This was the ship that Kidd got in trouble for plundering, leading to his being labeled as a pirate. It was pretty amazing to find a ship that Captain Kidd himself had stolen and then abandoned. Unfortunately, though, they didn't find the treasure along with it.
Step back in time to 1901 in Montreal's swanky Golden Square. Imagine here a grand mansion home to the wealthy Redpath family. Then, a bombshell. Both socialite Ada Redpath and her son Clifford are found tragically deceased in their private chambers. The only sign of a struggle? A single silent firearm. But here's the real head-scratcher. The investigation vanished faster than a magician's rabbit. No official police probe, just a lightning-quick inquiry held right there in the mansion. Within 48 hours, the Redpaths were buried, leaving whispers echoing in the empty halls. Was it a heartbreaking family tragedy, as the inquiry concluded, perhaps Clifford succumbing to a sudden episode, or was there a darker secret lurking beneath the surface? The Redpath family's wealth and the cloak of secrecy surrounding the investigation fueled a firestorm of speculation that continues to burn even today. This real-life whodunit with a dash of high society Montreal remains a captivating puzzle that may never really be solved.
Where are the bones of the Peking man? In 1923, scientists made a groundbreaking discovery in a cave near Beijing, the fossilized bones of a new hominin species known as Peking man, a subspecies of Homo erectus. It was the first real physical evidence of early human presence in China. The bones were estimated to be between 250 to 500,000 years old. There were 5 complete skulls, various other bones, but during World War II, China was invaded by Japan, and in 1941, during all this chaos, the bones disappeared. One story goes that there was an attempt to ship the Peking man fossils to the United States, like to keep them safe, but they were lost at sea when the ship carrying them sank. Others speculate they might still be buried somewhere in China, though.
Next up today on our list, we have the Pollock Sisters. So, believe it or not, but over a quarter of Americans subscribe to the idea of reincarnation. While science might scoff at the notion, sometimes real life throws us mysteries so bizarre that even the most skeptical minds can't help but scratch their heads. Enter the story of the Pollock Sisters. In 1957, tragedy struck the Pollock family in England when their 2 daughters, Joanna and Jacqueline, perished in a car accident. A year later, a miracle, or perhaps something spookier, occurred when Mrs. Pollock gave birth to twins, Jillian and Jennifer. As the twins grew old enough to talk, things got strange. They started asking for their past sisters' toys, recognizing landmarks their sisters would have known, like a specific school, or even freaking out around idling cars, once yelling, "That car is coming to get us." Could you just imagine your kid just screaming that? No, horrible. Sorry, that just got me. These spooky occurrences faded as the girls turned 5, and they went on to live normal lives, but the story wouldn't stay buried. It reached Dr. Ian Stevenson, a psychologist fascinated by reincarnation. After investigating thousands of cases, Dr. Stevenson documented 14 that he deemed credible, including the Pollock sisters. So if you're looking for a good paranormal shiver, this true story and the many unsolved science mysteries out there might just do the trick.
The Plain of Jars. So in northern Laos is a mysterious archaeological site called the Plain of Jars. It's thousands of massive stone jars, some towering up to 10 feet tall and weighing tons. They're covered in lichen and carved from sandstone. The big question, though, is what were these things used for? There are legends that giants once used these jars as wine glasses. As for why they were actually crafted, though, some archaeologists think they were possibly used for burial practices. Others think they could have been used as storage vessels or in ancient rituals and ceremonies, but those are just ideas. We don't even really know about the civilization that created them, because, you see, the jars date back as far as 1240 BC, making them much older than all the human remains found nearby. It's also really tough to study these ancient artifacts because of all the unexploded munitions from the Vietnam War in the surrounding area.
Next on our list today, we have Amy Robsart. Amy Robsart, the first wife of Queen Elizabeth I's favorite, Robert Dudley, wasn't known for a life of royal luxury. Stuck in the countryside while her ambitious husband climbed the court ladder, she was more likely to be found managing their estate than attending glamorous events. Then, in 1560, tragedy struck. Amy was found dead at the foot of a staircase in her residence, Cumnor Place. Here's the real kicker. The cause of death? A broken neck. Officially, it was ruled an accident. Tumble down the stairs. But whispers of foul play swirled like smoke. Was it a tragic misstep or something more sinister? The timing was very suspicious, with Amy's death conveniently removing a roadblock to Robert's potential marriage to the Queen. The lack of proper investigation and Robert's hasty return to court after the incident only fueled the rumors. Did Amy fall, or was she pushed? These questions surrounding her death continue to be a historical mystery, a question mark in the story of Elizabeth I's reign.
Alright, I had to get at least one cryptid on the list. We got the Monkey Man of New Delhi. Now, this happened in very recent history, but it's pretty interesting as a cryptid case because there were so many reports. In May of 2001 in New Delhi, all these reports started coming in about a strange creature known as the Monkey Man. He would attack people at night. It was most commonly described as being a monkey-like creature, hence the name, around 4 to 5 feet tall, wearing a metal helmet, and it had claws. It was also said to have glowing red eyes. And even weirder, some people would say it even wore roller skates. It was also said to be capable of leaping from building to building. Also, it's just really weird. That's a real interesting mix of items and appearances. Monkey, roller skates, but also jumps, has claws. Over 350 sightings were reported, and around 60 resulted in very real injuries. This wasn't just some big ape creature off in the distance in the woods, minding its own business. This thing was attacking people, but there were also accidents. There were reports of people falling from buildings or down stairwells while frantically trying to escape from the thing. But eventually sightings died down, but the Monkey Man was never caught. Was it an actual half man, half monkey monster, or was it just a maniac in a costume? Probably the latter, but still, he was never caught.
Imagine a sleepy French village perched on a hilltop. Now sprinkle in a charismatic priest with a penchant for renovations, whispers of secret societies, and a dash of potential hidden riches. That's the recipe for the enduring mystery of the Rennes-le-Château Treasure. The story kicks off in the 19th century with the parish priest. He undertook extensive renovations on the village church, funded by sources that remain murky. These renovations included peculiar symbols and statues, fueling rumors of hidden messages and clues. Legends arose of the priest discovering lost Templar riches or uncovering secret documents related to the Holy Grail. Despite extensive searches, no definitive treasure has ever been found. Some believed the priest's renovations were simply financed by savvy investments or by selling religious relics. Yet, the allure of the hidden persists. The story has captivated treasure hunters, authors, and conspiracy theorists for over a century. So, is there really a treasure in Rennes-le-Château? The answer, much like the village itself, remains shrouded in mystery. Whew,
Lots of treasure to be found out there.
Truly, should we go on a treasure hunt?
We probably should. I think that would be a really cool expedition. Get us on a boat. We just travel out to somewhere in the Caribbean and hunt for pirates' treasure.
Oh my god. Do you have a captain's license, perhaps? Or a boat?
Neither. But we can build a raft.
We've got some things to figure out, but we'll get there. I've been one of your hosts today, Olivia Kozlowski.
I've been the other one, James.
And we'll see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.